This is an interview unlike any other. This is welcome to Jess and Patrick from studio. It's Zaum. I should have asked this before. I'm so sorry.
It's highly contested in studio as well.
Really? That's
Depends
crazy.
who you ask.
Oh, what are the top contenders for title?
You've got Zaum, and then Zaum.
Zaum.
Yeah.
Does anyone take it really far and go like just go crazy with it like Zaum every time?
I'll have to introduce that one in the next meeting.
Welcome to Big Zam. Yeah, Big Zam. The chat has suggestions for you guys. I think Zaum's kind of cool. Is there like an origin story to the title?
I think it has some Russian origin.
Oh.
But, we weren't around when it was conceived, so we just mispronounce it.
It's probably better that way. You make it your own.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But yeah, do you guys mind introducing yourselves really quick? Jess, you have been in, I think, have both of you actually been in previous Zero Parade's videos?
Not me. Just Jess, I think.
New.
First time. You can go first then.
My name is Patrick O'Rian. I'm the lead writer on Zero Parades for Dead Spies.
Nice.
Pretty huge.
And my name is Jess Crawford. I'm a producer on Zero Parades for Dead Spies. I primarily work with art, but I'm also dabbling a bit with the writing team at the moment. So...
Oh, at the moment, implying there's more. Very exciting. Okay, well, great. Actually, I have a quick question. We were talking about this a little earlier. What is a lead writer exactly?
So, many things, Lumi, depending on who you ask, but like my day-to-day stuff is heading up the on-the-ground writing team, collaborating a lot with Justin Keenan, our narrative director, writing my own characters, my own flows, and also editing flows as well. It's a bit of everything.
Got it. That's amazing. So have you written for other games before and you came into this directly and just to writing, or did you kind of start somewhere else within Zaum and you got into this?
Yeah, I came in like very cold and very green. I was like, my background is in film, so I went to film school.
Oh.
Films and a few music videos, and I did a screenwriting MA. That kind of carried me through, into Zaum.
Very cool.
First game.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, okay, well, we might as well just start officially. I talked about this before. I don't want to take up too much of your time, and I think chat only has so much attention span, so we gotta move. So one introductory question for both of you guys: do you play other games, and what are kind of your favorite things to do outside of your own work, or like maybe games, movies, books, anything like that?
I'll go. Yeah, I love playing games. It's one of my favorite hobbies. My favorite game is Outer Wilds. Amazing, incredible game. I could take over the stream talking about it, so I won't. But would highly recommend. Outside of work, I love reading. I love horror, that kind of thing. I also do aerial arts like aerial hoop and.
Oh, I love I've tried that. That takes a lot of upper body strength, which I don't have. Don't have that.
You get it by doing it. I will say, Lumi, it's worth giving it another go if you've stopped.
Maybe I'll have to pick it back up. It's really, really cool. But yeah, we played Outer Wilds. It was a very singular experience, I think. Not much can really compare in terms of like narrative story. I did cry a few times.
Me too.
Yeah, very, very good one. Patrick?
Yeah, I kind of I think when you're working on a game, you don't want to like play expansive narrative RPGs much, because both fear of like contamination and also fear of distraction, because those things usually take like 100 hours to complete.
Yeah.
So I'm playing like mostly Helldivers with my friends. A good bit of Helldivers too.
Do you get really patriotic about the Helldivers? I know lots of people really like to defend Super Earth.
Yes, staunch nationalism, absolutely. Yeah, just the basics, the Nintendo basics like Mario Kart and the tennis one for the Switch too. Been playing a lot of that. Games that don't take up too much of your time.
I guess that makes sense because you do have to write more day to day, I'm guessing.
I've had other friends who say this. They working on creative things. It's like if you're making a record or writing a book, you don't want to like be in that medium too much because you're so preoccupied with it elsewhere. So I think there's
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Have you so both of you guys do you play RPGs in your own time as well? Because there aren't that many games that compare to Disco and Zero Parades in terms of how well written they are, but is that something that you grew up enjoying and wanted to work in specifically?
Yeah, for sure. I think with narrative storytelling in video games, I was kind of came of age in the late 90s, so all the classics like Ocarina of Time and Final Fantasy VII, those kind of defining RPG games were a big influence. I think Majora's Mask as well is maybe better than Ocarina of Time for what it does with the storytelling. And potentially Final Fantasy VIII is better than 7. That's a controversial take. But yeah, those kind of games for sure were like big inspiration. But even when you were playing those games in the 90s, you would never think that you could do it for a living, you know?
That's
It would seem very out.
No,
right.
I completely understand. Didn't think I could ever do that for a living. Well, great. Yeah, I think those are pretty. Chad saying I'm too young. Oh, I did not play the Zelda games, but I'm picking up on things now, so maybe one day we'll get to them.
But they're releasing Ocarina of Time as of last week. So you will get.
Oh,
to
they
play
are.
It.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess we'll have to play that. We'll have to do it. Great. Good. Oh, curse you for saying that, because now I have to play. Now they're gonna hold me to it. It's awful.
It's worth your time.
Oh, okay. I'll play my first Zelda game finally. Okay. Well, so it's been about 1 month since the game released. I think the reviews across the board are very positive, mostly like 9 out of 10, 9.5 out of 10. It seems everyone's very positive. How are you guys feeling about the reception and how it turned out?
It's kind of surreal. Like, we've been working on this thing kind of cloistered for 3.5, 4 years. You kind of forget it will eventually go out and see the light of day. So to have such a positive response and for everybody to play it, receive it in such a way and really understand it has been so nice within the studio. And like all of the vibes are very, very positive. And it's just, yeah, it's so nice for people to finally see what we're working on and be like, tell our friends and be like, hey, check out this thing that we've put out there. So yeah.
Yeah, it's like from a writing point of view, because there's so many words in the game. It's people playing the words, encountering the characters, and encountering like that one card that you made for like one person who's going to appreciate it.
I have many questions about those for you. Don't. We have found some. They are shocking. There have been many pauses in the game where I'm like, is this happening? This really? Wow. Okay.
I'm very happy for the entire writing sequence. Yeah.
Great. I have lots of questions, but first, let's start maybe more general and then work our way down to the magic wand. So I know that there's some inspiration from like Jean Le Carre, like Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, and you guys did want to do like this spy mystery drama that hasn't been done before. But could you tell me your inspirations for Cascade?
Yeah, Cascade was one of the first things that was on the table for the game, and Justin, our narrative director, kind of came in with her fully formed as a character.
Oh.
She wasn't called Cascade at that point; she was just called Herschel Wilk, Krypton in TBD. But yeah, he was very strong on that was going to be our protagonist from the get-go, and then through development of 4 years of working with Herschel, her character. Developed as the game developed. We had like some rules for writing the characters that the writers all knew, but Herschel's the one character in the game that every writer has their kind of fingerprints on, right? Because she's in every scene. Every writer has a shot at writing at Herschel. And I think if you know the writing team, you can sometimes see who has written like the Herschel in this flow. But hopefully for those people playing it, it's like a seamless character. So yeah, she was there very early on and developed, cohesively, hopefully as a whole.
Interesting. I think so. I did tell you guys before that I might ask some more like heavier questions or like not so positive ones. So I've read a lot of reviews. I did a good amount of research, and it does seem like, so compared to Harry Dubois, who comes in as this obviously broken and very silly but very present character, it almost feels like Herschel is someone more blank, that you really define her by how she relates to the world and her previous crew and everything. Was that kind of an intentional decision to let her be more of like a role-playing classic device where we can choose how she is, or is that like, what were your thoughts on making her this way?
I think it was really important for us to have her be a character that was slightly more defined than Harry was, because then she had a specific approach to her environment and to the things that are around her. But also then it made you tap in slightly more to her situation, like everything that happened with her crew and everything that fell apart when she was in Portofino prior to the game's events. So we found that it was really important to actually build her up rather than starting as like an amnesiac that a player could imprint themselves onto. We wanted to present her as a whole for you to then have to create your own interactions and to build out Herschel as she goes through her journey.
Yeah, it does seem like, so I think for Herschel, you know, you kind of come in, she's a communist spy, which was very different from the previous as well. And it kind of colors the worldview a little bit, knowing her background. Actually, it's a very different approach to this full amnesiac, where you have her, you know, there's sometimes where you feel pressured to make some dialogue choices just because you know who Herschel is supposed to be. Did you guys have an intended kind of version of Herschel that you yourselves maybe imagine more often than not, or is she just completely open?
I think to a large degree she's open. There's certain elements of her past that, you know, you come, as you said, she's a communist spy. She's this riding off this big failure 5 years ago. She's been on ice basically for 5 years. That's all part of her. And but how she responds to that trauma failure is kind of purview of the player, right? They can take her in a number of directions based on their playstyle and how they see the character. But I think that's an interesting point, that spies are at their best blank slates, right? They are professional LARPers. They put on disguises and roles and then trade them off and discard them. So there's an element of that to Herschel's character as well, that she's not sure footing on who she is, because she's playing personalities and adapting to situations and rarely presenting her like true face.
That's actually, I don't think we actually thought about that when we played the game, because we were like, I think I played Disco Elysium. I think a lot of people in my chat have, and it was something that we were like, oh, you know, she's very transformable. Like, she really fits in everything. But it does actually fit really well with her being a spy and also being on ice for 5 years. Like, hasn't seen the world, hasn't really been connected to anything. Yeah, she does swap her masks very well. That's actually very interesting.
It's interesting how that played into like how we made her, like from the art side as well, because that was a lot of the fine line that we were trying to toe, is how do we make her look interesting as a player character, but also she has to be a spy, she has to fit in, she can't be too wild and out there, otherwise it will just be not believable that she's a spy.
Yeah, I mean, the fake mustaches definitely help with that. The multiple,
and the
multiple, yes.
Old favorite.
I had that first wig and mustache on for a long time until I had to give it to the King of Trade. So yeah, really.
A worthy cause, giving it to the King of Trade.
He deserved it. More hair for the King of Trade. But yeah, so she came in fully formed. So this kind of decision to make Herschel more grounded and serious and broken, this was consciously decided on. Did that come with the kind of like territory of the spy genre, or is that something that kind of developed as you were writing more?
Yeah, I think it does come with the genre a lot of the time. You know, you can play Herschel the opposite of that, right? You can play her ungrounded, unserious, and very unprofessional. And the philosophy with on the writing side with Herschel's is like you get presented with a group of like 3 or 4 options, and all these things are meant to be things that are in Herschel's head, right? Responses that have like appeared in Herschel's mind, and then the player gets to pick how she actually acts within the world and kind of shape her that way. So I think it does come from the genre. We always say that like spies are, unless you're like doing the power fantasy James Bond thing, spies are sad bureaucrats who spend a lot of their time in like grey rooms, secretly suspect they are in fact on some level dark magicians.
There's a lot of strange magic. It was very interesting. Okay, I have to ask this. Did you name her Herschel to make the Himshel joke?
No. No, we didn't.
We came in very clutch because as soon as we ran into that, we were like, oh my, was this intention? That was written.
I believe that was full credit to our art director, Kaspar, came up with that. I think.
A hymnshell. Wonderful. I have a big question about the narrator. So again, with the kind of silliness, this new narrator is very gravelly voiced. How old is Herschel?
Herschel's in her late 30s.
Late 30s. Okay. Yeah, it's very different. I think, especially comparisons are kind of inevitable, and I think everyone's trying to take it as its own thing. But I think she's very serious a lot of the time, and I think there's less of that silliness. Is it because Herschel herself takes herself very seriously, or tries to, with the job? Is this an in theater kind of like canon thing where she's being professional? Like, what was the vocal direction for the VA here?
I'll take that one, Jess, or?
I was going to say, I feel like I think there is a lot of silliness and playfulness, and that comes from the seriousness of the delivery. I think, especially when you're looking at checks that come in through like statehood or poetics, I think Boomila's delivery of those is really, because it's so serious and because she gives it in such a way that Herschel's thoughts are delivering them to her. I think that's what makes it, at least to me, that's what makes it quite amusing and funny, and contradicts itself in its seriousness sometimes.
She's a straight man.
Right.
Yeah, she was going on about ghosts for a long time in a basement, which is very strange.
That is not a professional spy at work, right? It's
No. No.
So
Go ahead.
there is an element not to take her seriously, I think, if you play her that way. But yeah, overall, you can play her like straight down the line as well. As competent as she can be, as competent as your dice rolls make you, let's say.
Not very. Are there any plans to kind of expand her like inner thoughts voice cast, or is this kind of the end product that you guys were going for?
Yeah, we made a conscious decision to bring it down from 24, I think we're in Disco, to 15, because in Disco some of the skills and voices just steal the show that others get less time. And I think even some runs of the game, when you focus, there's some skills you're definitely going to focus on to get the most out of it, and other ones which are like slightly less important. So we whittled those down to 15. We thought that was a more focused approach. And because in Zero Parades, Herschel's mind is like less at war with itself, right? In the way that Harry's is. So these are more actually like actual skills than voices. So we knew they were going to be more like focused on action rather than like scraping together the remains of your memories off the bottom of your brain.
Yeah, no, I think that's very like a good way to describe it. Sometimes you kind of like understanding the intention of the character really helps put her in place, right? Because like playing it blind and experiencing it, it's so different. Thank you very much. It's very helpful. Yeah, the chat is talking about the Thai and how we miss him dearly.
Yeah, the Thai is awesome, and so is the ancient reptilian brain. But it's hard to balance that stuff without doing the same thing again.
Yeah.
And you don't want to play too many notes that are similar. So yeah.
Yeah, more of an even playing field then to actually play Herschel, not just listen to the voices in your head.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. So a lot of the cast do seem to come from the DE cast. Was that something that they were just because I want to fantasize that everyone was so happy to come back and they loved everything? Was that how was working with them again? Was that kind of like a conscious choice? Was it did they get to inject any personality? We've caught Kim, we've caught the lawyer Gardiner, we've caught Measurehead, which was crazy, like such a different character, completely different. I told you guys earlier, Idiot Doom Spiral. We were very happy to hear him back. How was that?
It was really nice to be able to bring back some of the original cast from Disco Elysium and put them into this. I think it was just good vibes. I think it was really, really exciting to I know Mikey Goodman, Reptilian Brain, many other voices within Disco Elysium, was in charge of a lot, putting a lot of the voice acting cast together. He's also a couple of voices in there, if you can spot him. I think he's very difficult to spot because he's very talented.
He's a magician of a
We'll
man.
have to
honestly, you would
find
never
him.
recognize
What?
him.
I don't think we caught him at all. Actually, I'm trying to think now. We've caught.
Yeah, you'll be looking out. Well, listening out from now. And Patrick, I believe you do some voices in game, right?
I do a couple, yeah.
Yeah, so you'll all have to listen out for Dear Patrick in the game. See if you can spot him.
Oh my god. Oh, okay. We're gonna do that as we get into Act 3. I'm just gonna keep. Every time someone talks, I'm gonna pause. Wait, was that? Yeah, it's been really lovely to hear everyone back, and I think the range was shocking because the characters they play are like so different from from the previous.
Yeah, totally. And all credit to Jim, actually, our voiceover director who did Disco, and Mikey was also on Disco, obviously, as Jess said. But I think everyone was very happy to come back and work with Jim. Everyone in the studio is always very happy to just talk to Jim, to be honest. So,
Jim's a gem.
Yeah.
I'm putting that on record.
We'll quote that at the bottom, just on the thumbnail. Jim's a gem. Come back. Actually, on the same note, you guys have a lot of Portofiro. For the chat who might not know, in previous interviews, it was discussed that there was influences from Spain, Portugal, but also like Hong Kong, I think was said, and also just whatever the artists were feeling that day, and they, would take a picture of. But the accents are so diverse. Just for a little bit of world building and lore, what was it's supposed to be kind of like this backwater, rundown, post-Soviet city, right? That's out of its former glory. What was the decision for bringing all these different accents? It's really so varied, and it seems to have a deeper story than we get to see in just the game.
Yeah, I think part of it is that this is a studio is so diverse. So it made so much sense to start to bring in a lot of the voices that we work around every single day. The kind of voices, not to say that everybody is a voice actor, but you will be surprised by the number of people who have contributed. But yeah, so it made a lot of sense to hear like Estonian voices and Portuguese voices and other types of accents, as you've noted in the Lumi. I think as well, in terms of the lore of Portofiro, it's such a diverse place. Like there are people who were born and bred there. There are people like the expats, they've expatriated there. So, and there's people who are passing through. It just made a lot of sense to not build it around one certain type of person, one certain type of place.
Yeah, it was super colorful. I mean, we met Dr. Hugo. We met like Measurehead is Goat Eyes, who is now completely different, almost the opposite. Who is
my boy? I love Goat Eyes so much.
He turned into such a charmer, he was like very sweet, so flirtatious, and he's I believe I want to say he's Muslim, like proper, like there's some religious elements in there. He calls you Habibi, and we were very excited, like, oh, Habibti. Yeah, it's so diverse, and like it does seem like it makes sense with how they're having this kind of culture struggle to have everyone just kind of come in and somehow find a place in Portofiro.
Yeah, I think it's also just on a gameplay level for the player experience, right? It's way more interesting to not know what kind of voice you're going to encounter next, rather than everyone speaking like a...
It's been very fun finding new things. Every time I'm like, oh!
Yeah, right. You never know what's around the next corner. I think Disco did something similar, right, with a lot of accents that kept it like engaging and dynamic all the way through.
Yes, for lack of a better word, they were more used for negative reasons though. So because that one was definitely like they had a more focus on who belongs here and who doesn't. This one was more like everyone lives here, and that's why it is so colorful, I think.
Yeah, right. Part of why it's being contested as well in the story, right? It's like this land that no one owns and has gone through several different political systems. That has caused it to be like a hodgepodge.
Yeah, for sure. I have a lot of questions about Portofiro and and some of the political aspects of it. But I think just before we get into that, the magic, it's not all it's not just the real world. There is some magic. We've seen blessings from angels in the stars. We've seen ghosts. We've seen talking monkey, which might be in my imagination. I'm not sure still. But the Noah's, there's been a bunch of stuff that happens that is a little strange. Is that real? In, behind the scenes, could you give us a look on what is that?
Yeah, the world building principle that we followed for Zero Parades is that consciousness is like a little bit more fluid and malleable in that world than it is in our world. So it's not that like magic is there in terms of like wizardry and spells, but you're able to like extend your consciousness a little bit further. And I think that goes through some of the
we saw the remote viewing documents which was a very real
right.
a very real thing in the 70s.
Right. Remains to be seen if Holocene is completely insane or if he's actually done half the stuff he says he's done. But I think we were always sure to offer the player, the skeptic, a way out, right? So some of the stuff you can do, you can either believe in it or you can say, well, I didn't achieve functional invisibility. I just walked very carefully, like nondescriptly through this group of people. So yeah, it was more, it's an interesting place to be because it leads to things that appear supernatural or psychic, but it's just that like your brain's a little looser in Zero Parades.
So could you explain the imprinting device? And this is a mild spoiler if you haven't gotten there. It's early-ish in the game, but still mild spoiler.
Yeah, that's right. That's a really good example of the kind of like magic used in the world building. It's a device used by the Illusion elite, the political class, that finds its way to Portofira and then finds its way to Herschel. And what it does is allows you to imprint your consciousness onto a receiver, another person.
Yeah, it's definitely not like a standard thing, but it seems like technology and magic are a little mixed with Carolina's device. The calling the phone the magic box at the very beginning, I was like, okay, so some things are not fully understood. Yeah, it's a loose system kind of based on what you want it to be.
Right. And you're totally right. We do borrow that terminology. At Shadowplay, the skill can sometimes dip into like that mystical magician register, right?
Yeah.
Where it talks things in kind of arcane way.
Yeah,
so
financial wizardry too. There's some financial wizardry in play.
Yes. So yeah, we do borrow that like pageantry of magicianship. Yeah.
Yeah, it really adds to the. Yeah, I think Chad was saying like it adds to the kind of air of mystery because it's a game that very much doesn't hold your hand at all. Like you don't know what the world is like, what's happening. There are many times where I was very lost. It's like I don't know what to do next. So that was also intentional, just kind of leaving it open ended and having maybe there's more. Yeah,
exactly that. Another one of our guiding principles in the writing room is that the player doesn't need to know, the player just has to wonder. If we've got the player wondering, then I think we're kind of doing our job, or at least for the people who enjoy these kind of games, I hope.
Yeah, we've speculated a lot. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I think that's my favorite part, especially like in production. Sometimes I've got my head in spreadsheets and I come out and I'm like, I get to play the game and think, oh, I'll talk to this person. I'm like, oh, that connects with this other person I was talking to at some other point. And it's so nice to be able to connect those dots without a journal being like, you've done this thing. Now go speak to this person. Now go speak to this person. It is really like so enjoyable to be able to discover all of these things and feel like a genius in your own right. You're like, I put this together. So, yeah.
Yeah, there's been lots of moments. It's great. The game has a lot of replayability, but I've been seeing a lot of things on stream playing it that nobody else has, and we found things, and it really feels like there's so many things that you can find for yourself that are so singular to your playthrough. It's very, very well done. Yeah. Okay, so I have darker questions. First question: the whole world is dark. It's dark. There's the whole thing about Herschel is her trauma. It's very present. You have to take drugs and drink and all of that to kind of cope with it. There's also Carolina's torture, our torture, which was crazy. Oh my god, it was crazy. I can't believe that happened. There was the pilots and the gift, which was somewhat horrifying. It's a very dark game. What were your thoughts writing it? Was it, again, with the territory, or is that just something that reflects our modern world? What what were your thoughts?
I think, yeah, it's a great question. I think it's a bit of both. I think it does come with the genre territory. As we said, spies, sad bureaucrats who think they are dark magicians. And if you stay in espionage long enough, you will reach a state of paranoia and cynicism. I think that you will only view people as like tools or threats or both. Like becomes how you can manipulate people at a very like human level. So all that is, I think, is inherent in the like espionage genre. And I think if you look at the history of espionage in our world, it is like more failure than it is success. There has been so many institutional failures, all the way from the CIA to operations during World War II. I think it's just like inherent in the genre, that weight of it. So we gave that like a very character-led manifestation with Herschel, but I think it is like the genre kind of drapes you in it and drapes the story in it.
It's a very different take on the traditional spy, right? Because we always see this crazy guy who's doing amazing things and he's a hero, but now it's so sad. It's so everything is so sad. It's really awful.
But I would say like the trajectory of it and of Zero Praise, and you can obviously play it the opposite way. That is what makes these games so interesting. But the trajectory of it is one of humanity over ideology. I would say it is set up so that you reassemble your crew, you get your band back together, and you maybe put on one last show. So that thread is definitely people over institutions for sure. I think that is like a guiding principle that we used.
Yeah, there was that moment where we found ST in her apartment, and I was struggling to pick the decisions that were more human, because I don't know if you guys remember, but there's this one line where you can say, oh, you married this guy for his connections, right? Or his ability to look at these post boxes. And I was like, I can't pick that. I have to believe. I know she's a real person in there. Yeah, the whole crew is so heavy. Playing through all of the stories is... so far we've done part of Estes, we haven't quite finished. We've met Ramses, which awful. Carolina, awful. Holocene, crazy, awful. Tempo, obviously awful. Oh my god, it's painful.
Right, you've left these people in wreck and ruin.
Yeah.
Like, to what degree it is your fault? I think.
Yeah, the whole time, you know, you walk to these people and you're talking to them and you just keep thinking it's my fault. I did this. That's on me.
You're experiencing it as intended.
It sometimes it takes us a little bit just sitting there and we're like, oh god, I ruined her life. It was written very well.
That like brings in another interesting question or interesting like element of this game, which is that RPGs are often, when you play a long RPG like a classic JRPG, you want to get the squad building out of the way in like the first hour. You want to see who are my guys, who's with me, right? And then you go off and you have the big adventure. We kind of like pulled it right back so that the meat of this game, the viscera of it, is about assembling the people. And the questions become like, considering the damage I have done, is it now right to bring these people with me, or should I just leave them as I found them? And are they better off not knowing me at all now? So that little beat of most of the classic RPGs about assembling the squad, we kind of pulled that and stretched it into an entire game and see what kind of dilemmas and like agonies you could get out of it.
Yeah, we really make you face your humanity, which is so difficult. Yeah, usually you're just like, I'm actually the chosen one and everything's fine. And it's like, oh god, should I have brought Carolina back into this? She had a really horrible time the last time. I'm not sure this is the right thing to do. So
yeah, it's like an often overlooked moment in the genre. I think that it does say a lot, and I think it's been done very well. Yeah, the Septimus begging you not to bring her in was, I hated that guy. I hated him. He's such a little sleazy, you know, like greasy, gross, disgusting. And then he's so kind to her. Oh my, we flipped immediately. Probably one of... No, sorry, go ahead.
It's just very concerning that Septimus ends up being the moral center of the game in many ways.
Yeah, we flipped immediately. Like, went to best written character ever. I was like, oh god, I've completely misunderstood this guy. What a class act in a gross way. Yeah. All right. So I do want to ask about the politics. So it does seem like the game is less about political parody and ideology, and more about the kind of cultural, like it's like a critique on media, surveillance, culture, influences. What were your thoughts writing that? It must be very hard, especially today. Soft powers, not so much the hard things.
Right. I think compared to like Disco Elysium, which was developed in like the mid 2010s, I think the political scene and the kind of the world is very different in many ways. And
we have meme wars now.
Yeah, right. Information is way more fluid. You have like misinformation, disinformation, at times too much, at times too little, it seems. It's impossible for anyone to like keep up with it. Technology is changing rapidly. Economies are changing rapidly. We are never sure-footed, or I feel I'm never sure-footed in what is going on. And then with that, you have the acceleration of nostalgia, right? Of not being sure of the now makes the past feel like way more real and way more present. And there's like this nagging feeling that like it was way more real back then, or it meant so much more back then. And I think in 2026, nostalgia is a like really significant psychological force. I think it dictates everything from like Russia's Soviet nostalgia causing conflict in Europe to like Ocarina of Time being re-released, right? It is.
Yeah,
it is
tons of re-releases recently, exactly on that, for that reason, I think.
Right. So we wanted to reckon with that a little bit. I think on the writing team, we're interested in that and how media and art can have its say in the world that we live in today.
Yeah, it's been very interesting. Like you see the ghosts of communism, Nestorismo, obviously the not techno-fascist, it is techno-fascism still, and these influences, but it's almost like we are seeing around them in more of like a human level experience, not so much, and we're really dealing with the kind of like the fall off of these things, not so much directly. I'm not sure why it felt so. We're very removed from the political events, and it really feels like we are experiencing everything, in the wreckage on ground level. It's very, very interesting.
Yeah, I would hope that is like something like it is to be an actual spy, right? You have these kind of tectonic shifts moving underneath you that you can't ever see the full picture of. And yet you're just told to like turn this guy over to your side or kill this woman or whatever you're directed to do. And you just have to trust that something you are doing is moving the international dial to some degree. So I think it is very easy to get despondent and like paranoid and depressed being an agent.
Yeah, I think the game deals with all those like just effects of it. And so again, this was something that you was this something that came in as like a fully formed idea that you really wanted to talk about, or again was it something that you were writing it and it just became, with the times, especially because you've been working on this for so many years, something that kind of just as soon as you put the pen down, it started writing itself?
Yeah, I think a bit of both. Certainly there were things that we wanted to write about. There were themes that we wanted to write about. There was stuff related to the like professional situation that some of the writers in Disco wanted to write about. Response was to put all that in the game on some level. So also as it developed, we'd pick out things happening in wherever the news, we'd read something as a reference, and we'd say like, oh, if we just take this but we contaminate it a little bit, it can kind of fit right in our work. A good example is there's a format in the game, the red disc, right, that only plays itself once. So that was one of our programmers, Anna, showed me this disc that actually existed called Cartravision, which only played itself once. And it was meant to be like a rental disc, and you could only play it with this like massive machine. It was like an instant failure, instant commercial and financial failure. But it did exist for a time. And instead of like erasing itself, it would lock itself, right? So you couldn't play it. And we thought, that's cool, that fits with our themes. Now we can make it so that it erases itself and can never be retained. then that like fits our world a little better and fits what we're trying to say a little bit better. So we took a lot of cues from cool stuff that the writers and the rest of the studio would find and kind of feed us through.
That's super cool. I did not know that was we got the disc and we were like, oh my god, this is so weird. Why would anyone do this? What a strange thing.
Well, good question, and the market answered it.
Wow. Yeah, so some of these characters that have been written are clearly parodies. I wanted to ask, and again, this is sort of a carryover from DE. I think this is also personal opinion. It seems like some characters are not meant to be liked. Like Bagman. Wow, my brain glossed over. I couldn't listen to a single thing he said. I couldn't. Oh my god, he was talking, and I was
Bagman, like, another one of my boys in the game.
I hate him, but like with love, maybe. So, is that kind of something that you guys like when developing these personalities? Did you? This kind of relates to D in the deserter at the end, who is just the worst person ever, no redeeming qualities. Are there things that you've written specifically to be kind of like foils or meant to stand in to kind of dissuade certain things? Is this like unlikable characters? Are they kind of meant to be that way, or was that intended to add to the grit and the realness of the world? Because sometimes you just don't like someone.
To be fair, sometimes you just don't like someone. I would say, as a writer, you have to like them, or you have to at least see their point of view on the world, right? I don't think anyone was like written intentionally to be dislikable. I would say like certain characters were written to be abrasive, like Septimus, like Ignatz. If you've met Ignatz, like Holocene, but we always try and find like the humanity or the things that, in terms of like Holocene, for instance. He talks at a very elevated level. He can get annoying. He can get long-winded. He can constantly disagree with you and correct you. But then he has this side of him where like he lives alone. He lives alone in a silo with nothing. He's like existing on old rations. So we always try and like balance the character.
Yeah, very much so. We really turned around on him after looking at the paper that he wanted to see. It was like, oh, this guy's just so lonely. He just wants a hug. How can we help him? But also, it's just very interesting. These characters go so deep, and can you please explain the good things about Bagman? I'm struggling, and I'm right there in his apartment. It's so hard.
Yes, please.
I'm just such a big Bagman fangirl. There's just something about him. I just want to believe him. If I could just give myself over to this fantasy of the world. I'm like, yeah, I'm right there with you, King. I'll put a bag on. Let's go.
I was pretty much in that. Like as soon as we saw him, we were like, yeah, like this guy's, yes, believe. And I went to his apartment like 3 times before it really opened because I was like, I just want to meet him. I just like meet your idols, you know.
I will, without spoiling anything, and I'm not sure how far you are with Bagman. He when you get to a certain point, his dialogue opens up and becomes almost very magical, like we were talking about before. And so I would further explore him and his lore. It's very interesting, and the way he plugs into the world is also, with
the Ascendance pack,
worth exploring and keeping going with that. Yeah.
Yeah, we're trying to go through every option. I did say in the beginning, I did not finish the game. I intended to. I saw someone on Reddit say, oh, you can beat the game in 12 hours. And I was screaming on stream. I was like, how can you do it in 12? I am at 25 and we're not even halfway. I have to talk to everyone. I have picked I've been doing everything. You can't miss out on any little interaction because they're so different. Like finding Kurt in the boiler. We were like, oh my, how are we supposed to just skip this? And that was a completely random side quest.
I'd be very surprised if you could do it in 12 unless you were like hammering the continue button.
Yeah. I don't think they were engaging that much with it.
So I can barely, I was looking at an option yesterday and I was like, no, I'm beating the game today. I've got an interview tomorrow. And I was like, I want to click it so bad. I just gotta know what's happened. Yeah, it's very easy to get lost in the world. Yeah, but on the topic of characters, you have so many crazy ones. What's the process writing someone like Bagman, someone like, and then someone so different like Dr. Hugo, the boat guy even. Everyone is so Kurt. Kurt has been a favorite. We love him.
That's great.
He's a
Absolutely.
fantastic guy. What's the process writing someone so out there?
I think we found that it is best when a certain writer takes a character who either has an affinity for them or has like honed in on their voice. Having said that, there is no character in the game that is written like 100% by one writer because there's lots of fingerprints all over them. But I'd say there are a few characters which are like 80-90% one writer. I think Kurt is a good example. That was written by Cosmos, principal writers. And that, when I look at Kurt, in some ways the writer is the character, right? Because those characters are so specific and they speak in such a like unique, strange register that like Kurt is both nothing like Cosmos and also exactly Cosmos. So there are like
he's a baller. He's a megalo baller.
Right.
Right.
You hit the nail on the head.
There are the characters that work best. I think have been ones that one writer could take and kind of run with, and then get into their own little like whirlpools of weirdness with, and come up with something unique and wacky.
Yeah, it's been. I feel like the world is so colorful. Because it's really these. The game opens up around the 10-hour mark when you kind of get through Act 1 a little bit, and then you start, and then you can finally meet Dr. Gonza. That was one of the first ones. The Renotel man was a really fun experience. Just like the characters seem so deep. Like how much do you put into a character before you even write his first line in the game?
Yeah, quite a lot of thought. There's different like approaches for each character. You kind of have to first think like, does this character serve a plot interest on like a specific quest? Do they have to do something? Like, do they have to give you this or lead you here? But yeah, mostly the characters are heavily like discussed and kicked around. Justin, our narrative director, is very good with characters, and everything kind of goes through him as well. And then it's just draft after draft after draft of like nailing the voices and honing it down. And then you build in other things to them as well. Like, for example, if you needed to go back to Gonza for something, you'd say, okay, well, I need a thing here for Gonza that allows me to do this. We need to add this into him now. And then once the character is established, it's quite easy to kind of build that up. So some characters are just there for color and like flavor as well. So it depends really on their function.
I see. Yeah, some of them feel just very fleshed out, and like I would love to meet. I would love to meet.
I remember having a lot of conversations about whether Gonza should be there with a noose around his neck or a knife, and it was a lot of fun to talk about. Like the writing team would come along and be like, I think we should do this, and we're like, oh, but animation needed to look like this, and so it was really interesting to go through that creative process and how much we lean into that kind of craziness of the character. I mean, I am quite grateful we've got the noose around his neck. It's quite.
It was
nice to...
so impactful walking in for the first time and looking at him. I long pause. Really.
I think that was definitely writing's argument, but Jess is right that you have like 10 people sitting very solemnly in a meeting going like, guys, are we going with noose or are we going with knife? Like this has to be decided today.
No, that's amazing. So they're products of love. Are there any self-inserts out of curiosity that maybe someone's living very vicariously through a character?
Yeah, I think Cosmos is Kurt, basically. In many ways. I think there's a lot of personal stuff in each of the characters. The characters that I took on, I think I put a lot of my thoughts around art and creativity into Ultravioletta. Don't know if you've met her yet.
Yes, I have thoughts on her.
Oh,
yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Oh, I am not a fan yet. Actually, I'm not. I don't know if you want to. Do you want to hear my opinions?
Of course, absolutely.
I like her lack of empathy, I think. I don't know why. It came off as a lack of empathy. She's a pop star. She's made it so big. And then the way that she talked about, again, spoiler, the suicide of her own fans. Oh my God. Because we talked a little before. I'm also a musician. I get a lot of messages, people say, oh, I found your music. It made me feel this way. And so I could not relate to Ultraviolet at all. I was reading her lines and I was like, I hate her.
She is extremely naive.
Yes, very
women.
much a child produced, like hasn't actually seen these people in real life.
But then if you have if you're high in cold read, the skill, I think up to that point where she tells you about the suicide, cold read will go. She says something like, I didn't play a show for 6 months after that, and cold read will say something like, she didn't go outside either. So it is like
my
a
cold
way
read
of,
is zero. My
anxiety's
been very high this game, and that was the dump stat we decided on.
You're reading a lot of characters at like pure face value, obviously.
Okay, so we need to. Okay, note to self: I'll put more cold reading.
I think your take, Lumi, is entirely valid. Ultravioletta is naive. She is like kind of uncaring and empathetic about her own situation and what she may have done. And I think that maybe is what makes her an interesting character, especially when it comes to some of the things you may or may not have to do with her later on. Yeah,
I'm kind of expected more for her story in Act 3. I think we talked to her and now we're a little blocked because we have to do the Yana stuff. Yeah, so she does open up and there's definitely more story to her.
Yes. Oh yeah. Big piece on the board.
Yeah. Strong reactions are good reactions, so it's okay. My hate will likely turn into love after. We end up doing that a lot. It's hard to fully hate a character. I'm excited to see.
Who do you like?
Who do I like?
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big fan of Dr. Hugo. Well, there's kind of like joking, like I like someone on surface level. Like we love Gonza, he's so funny. We love Kurt, again, so funny. But then, yeah, Dr. Hugo was so kind and heartbreaking to do that. Talking about his story and why he's on the houseboat was very painful. And then, really came to like Septimus a lot. Again, his backstory really adds to why he is the way he is. And I have a minor crush on Holocene. That is true. He's just as soon as I got over the initial annoyance, I was like, oh, he's so cute. Really cute.
You would get on well with our art lead, Jenny, who loves Holocene.
He's so cute. He's just so lovely. In the worst way. I did also, maybe I like unlikable characters because I loved Titus in DE. He was just my ultimate sweetheart. I loved him. Yeah. Very smooth. I have to ask, again, in the wackiness, who wrote the armpit bit?
Which armpit bit?
Oh, which armpit bit?
Who are you speaking to?
Well, there's a doll. There's a doll. There's a lot of things that you can inspect in the game. That we found a wand with some batteries in it, and we also found a doll that looked like me. And wow, armpit. That served no purpose, by the way. It didn't even do anything. It just looked like a freak. And then there was a diddling bit, which was crazy. We did the whole thing.
I don't know who wrote that, Lumi. I will convene a tribunal tomorrow and deliver them to you. I can't say.
I became a molester. It was awful, because then he remembered when he woke up. When someone's unconscious, I didn't expect to be on the other. I'm a girl, so I didn't expect to be on the other side. Wow, I'm a monster. I'm a bad person. Who wrote that? They were great though. Really fantastic moments.
Those are the little parts that we were talking about earlier, right? The ones that you want people to like remember for good and bad reasons, I would say. But if that stuck with you, then I think that's awesome.
Yes. Yeah, I think it was like, it happened in one day where we had sex on the phone line. We had phone sex on the line with the Duchess. And then we went straight to the anti-last pills, you know, did the things with pseudopod. And then we went straight into the doll. It was just like a 3 for 3 kind of like one after another. Big day. I was a freak. And then I stole a kid's tooth, which I don't feel bad about.
You whacked the child with the wrench.
Oh yeah, I saved scum for it. I had to. I just needed to know what happened. It was worth it.
Because if you fail, you're still whacking. You still get
Yeah. I really needed that. And then I tried to give the tooth to the shrine, but then I took it back and got cursed. So that was also awful. Things. The way you can describe the game are so strange to anyone who hasn't played. You really like those words don't make any sense to anyone else.
That is true. Does not sound like you're playing a spy game.
No.
Sure.
Or maybe it does sound like you're playing a spy game. Maybe.
There is often moments in meetings where I'll say, where are we at with the wand? And I'm like, that's not a sentence I thought I would be saying in my career. So
Yeah, I screamed. I fully rendered too. You guys went and did it.
Detailed. Really committed. Yeah.
There was a lot of commitments. I think like some words are said, some objects are depicted, and I was like, oh, the torture scene, especially both Carolina's and our own. I was like, wow, they went all the way. They didn't pull any punches.
That was on the other end, on the other side, on like the serious side. I think that was important for us as well to kind of go there. If we're saying someone got tortured and you're like living with the weight of it, then like let's go there and do it properly.
Was it hard to write in that moment, like really getting into the mindset of it? And
that was written by Cosmos and Honey, another one of our writers, and I think they did a great job with it. It was certainly distressing to read when the like draft came across the desk. But yeah, I don't know where they went for that. Dark places.
It's interesting to imagine, you know, like two writers just kind of role playing this torture. It was really awful to experience. Like, fantastic job, very haunting. I did cry. Just sitting there like, oh god, she's I did that. Yeah, it's done very well. I've been saying this nonstop. I just think the world is built so well and all the characters are so well done, and I hope more people play it because it's not the same game as DE, and it's its own thing, and it's very beautiful with everything that's been built. Yeah, it's done very well.
Thank you for the kind words.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we're getting close to time, so I have a couple more questions, but these are happier now. Unless you have anything crazy to add about weird encounters. Oh, I did want to say that these special encounters I think were noted in every interview, and you guys were very excited. They're fantastic. They're really, really great. Those like they're almost like turn-based, you know, like you're playing it turn by turn, and it slightly changes from the core gameplay. Really, really special moments that we get to see.
They're very exciting to see come together because they are like different parts for so long, and then just before you get all pulled together, and it like they're very, very satisfying to work on, even though they do take a while.
And I failed all of them, but that's a separate point. That's fine.
But that's part of the fun is failing and then still going and seeing what happens as a result.
Yeah. Yes. Failing upwards.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. The game is actually, was it designed to be a bit more punishing with the failing upwards? Because now we have this almost mental break where you have to lose your stat points. It is very scary. I play so carefully. It's like I'm really like trying to be a spy and pretend and manage all my stuff.
That's good. Yeah, one of our core design principles was this failing forward, and I know you've already said you save scummed, and that's fine, Lumi, but trying to avoid that is it.
And maybe some other things.
We'll forgive you. You need the tooth, but like failing and like not passing the check and then seeing what happens anyway, because that's how life is, right? You
Yes.
don't always get what you want, you don't always pass the imaginary red check, and still life goes forward and you can't go back.
There are some red checks you miss too if you kind of go out and try to save scum. I noticed that it's very punishing. I tried to exit, save, go back in, gone forever. I could never have that back.
I'd say roll the bones, Lily. Roll the bones on every red check.
We're doing that now. Every time red check, just whatever, send it. 2%, whatever. I'm doing it.
That's the way to go. It's the way to play.
Yeah, it's been a really good experience. Okay, questions about the studio. I just have a couple. I noticed I have the Kim aerostatic jacket. I was such a fan. I noticed that you already put out a collection for Zero Spies. Is apparel something that you guys like always wanted to do? Is it like Riot Games with their music videos where it really brings a lot of the characters to life, I think, to see the pieces in real life, and obviously the art, that's fantastic. Well, how did Atelier happen, and what are your thoughts on it?
I love that we've got Atelier. I think it's such an interesting and unique thing that we do. That's not just a no shade, but not just Zero Parades printed on a t-shirt. Like, to be able to wear the aerostatic jacket, and then to be also, I thought it was so cool when I found out that we're making Herschel shoes. Like, isn't that like, what other game studio makes shoes?
Yeah, the eyeball shoes. Yeah, I was shocked. I was like, how much does that cost to make? That must be crazy.
I think we're very, very lucky with the group that we've got, and Christina and America, who lead Atelier, are fantastic seamstresses and fantastic designers. And so seeing their work come to life, and it's a really interesting collaboration of like, okay, we've designed this jacket. Is this something that Atelier can use? Or Atelier will come to us and say, is there anything that you think we could do? It was like that with the pelota uniform, and the bumper and everything.
Oh, the socks are fantastic.
The socks are so good, right?
I don't know why. They have no reason to be so good, but wow, I would wear those. Very sexy. It's strange. Like, I never
nothing strange about it. But yeah, I just think it's a really, really cool thing that we're able to do, and to breathe even more life into the worlds that we create.
Yeah, we're working on the wand.
The what? No. Great. No, I'm sure lots of people would be very excited. Herschel would love it. Great. Are there any lessons that you learned working on Zero Parades that you'd carry over? I don't know if you've already started the next project or anything, but things that you kind of, made mistakes on, or gleaned, or just kind of optimized workflow for?
Yeah, there's so many, I think.
I was going to say, which one to pick?
I think this is like the story of every video game development, because they're so complex to make, and takes so much time and so much effort from all the departments pulling together. I would honestly not know where to start. Just, as a producer, do you have a better eye on? I
was going to say, I think I've got a couple I can spring to mind. I think one thing is just, it's not necessarily a mistake. I think it's actually a really fantastic thing that so many people who came to Zaum weren't from the industry. So Patrick, as you were saying, you were into film, and I came from an events management background, and there's so many people that have come together to form this kind of video game studio. And so because this was a lot of our first times making this, there was a lot of errors that we made along the way. So just having this experience of having this under our belt, I think we've learned a lot. Especially as a completely remote studio, like, communication is mega important when you don't see people and you can't just go over a desk and say, hey Patrick, have you done this thing? And having people in different time zones, it's about like learning to effectively communicate, sometimes over communicate, and really making sure you've got all of your ducks in a row so that everybody's on the same page.
Yeah, I didn't know you guys were fully remote. It definitely adds to the storytelling, because the perspectives are so different, even day to day then.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. Would you, because I think I'm curious, are you guys considering making any other genres after Zero Parades, or is the kind of social CRPG maybe what you're most interested in. It's definitely, I think, a good fit for your very diverse non-game dev background with the writing and the cinematography and all of that.
Yeah, I think it's I think that that kind of thing fits what we do very well. We're narrative led, obviously. Storytelling first. I don't mean writing led. I mean narrative across all disciplines is at the forefront of our mind all the time. And that we write a lot of text that lends itself to many social interactions. And I think the thing that suits it best is that investigative element. So I think that will probably be a feature. Will probably involve lots of talking and getting to know the world. But we're also, I think, we're also kind of proud of what we did with the dramatic encounters, and I wouldn't be surprised if we try and build on that a little more as well.
Oh, interesting. So maybe something more combat oriented someday.
Yeah, combat is always the question about whether, how you pull it off and how you put kind of Zalm spin on it. But yeah, certainly we feel like we took that kind of moment to moment play. I think there's one big set piece in Disco, and we have 5 or 6 in Zero Parade. So yeah, I think that's something we're keen to explore more.
Great, yeah. It seemed like, and again, so this is a community question because I have not seen it. It seemed like at the end, there seems to be like a big event. Is there any possibility for sequel for Herschel and see more of her story, or is that something that you guys are closing and saying, hey, this is the story that we have, and it should be enjoyed as is?
So we're not taking anything off the table. We're exploring our options. How very diplomatic is my answer.
As expected from a producer. It's the best person to ask for a non-answer. No, it's good. I'm very excited to see what comes up, because you guys are obviously going to do more things with such a good team and people who are eager to keep working on it even after. Yeah.
That is the intent, yeah. Hopefully.
That's the goal, yeah.
Yeah. Great. One last question. Do you guys know that there's a whole genre now called a DE-like? How do you feel spearheading that genre now? I think we've seen Esoteric Ebb came out earlier this year. We've also seen the Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines CRPG. A lot more in this kind of vein. To varying degrees of success. I think Zero Parades is still it's the depth is kind of unbeatable, really. How do you feel being pioneers of a genre?
Well, I think Jess and I came in as fans of the genre, right? As fans of Disco Elysium, so I'd be very hesitant to call myself anyway a pioneer of it. But it is like wonderful to see so many games that take storytelling seriously coming to the fore. I think I've said this before, I think, but it reminds me of why I wanted to join Zalm, is it reminds me of that period in the early 2000s where HBO were making like hit after hit after hit of like TV shows that would go on to influence like for the next 20 years. And if we're approaching that in video games now, then I think that's a very exciting place to be. So I am excited to play them all, and I wish them all well.
Yeah, there seems to be Raw Fury Games says hi, but it seems like a lot of, this is kind of a general critique. We've played a lot of games on this channel. We play pretty much any new game, but it seems like there's been, I don't know if you'd agree. You don't have to agree for political reasons or anything, but it seems like there's been almost a decline of writing quality. I mean, the gaming fan bases have been somewhat up in arms about this kind of loss of real connection and thinking. And I think, having people who care about the story is been very refreshing in kind of a bleak landscape, even extending to like media, where you see this kind of like format that's more forgiving for like second monitor viewing or anything like that. It is great to have something that's so all-encompassing, that's worth your time. Very, very great.
Yeah, 100%. I think these things, they take so much time. Like we said, Zero Parades took 3.5 years to make. So many of these Disco-likes that are coming out now, they've also been in development for that time, and you see the kind of shift happening very slowly in games. So it is really nice that people giving the time and seeing what they can do with a narrative in games, and not just like what can happen in films and other media. So I'm personally really enjoying all of the depth that's coming out of it.
I'll also say as well that I think this game and other games that are heavily invested in narrative are like a rarity in that they take like an unfolding story, like a plot, seriously. I think what we see in games and films and TV shows to an extent is like people are much more interested in like a concept or a situation, and the concept is kind of like either stretched to full to breaking point in a film, or the game is just becomes the concept is the selling point. So I think what we tried to do with this, we spend a lot of time talking about literally the arrangement of the plotting of the thing, so that we could like unfold the story. And I hope that is people have been very nice about it in their responses and reviews. That's very heartening, and I hope that it's something that we see more games doing. The games in the 90s used to do, like Final Fantasy VII has a great unfolded plot. I think that kind of stuff is a rarity in these days in both gaming and film.
Yeah, it's been it's been very strange in the last 5 years, and I think for some reason this year we really got some sort of shift back. Maybe it's the nostalgia you talked about earlier, where finally people are kind of going, okay, you know what, maybe we can go back and do something.
There was something to that back then.
Yeah. Yeah, man, games used to be good. They can be good again. But yeah, I think that's it for. I don't think I have any other questions. Besides, is Twitchitov a jab? Did you guys pick that name specifically? You have a Twitch integration. Twitchitov?
No. No, I remember coming up with that name. I was just trying to find a Thomas Pynchon-esque name that the director of the opera could be called. So it was not a jab at all.
Because we were playing it, and there's been some stuff with Twitch recently, so we were like, oh, I get it. Okay. Oh, okay.
Well, do you know what, Lumi? These things are very layered. There's many dimensions to all of these things, so who knows?
Who knows? Well, yeah, thank you so much for your time. I think yeah, we filled it out. It wasn't hopefully it wasn't too tough on you guys.
Oh, absolute pleasure.
It was a pleasure. Yeah, thank you for having us.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I feel like I cut you off. But yeah, it's been really great. I really hope more people play the game for the game as its own thing. And we'll post a video later with some highlights, just because I think it is really beautifully done. We've paused a lot. There's lots of things to think about. And yeah, it's just beautiful work. So thank you very much for your work and as well as your time.
Thank you for the chance to chat, and thank you for playing it.
Yeah, thank you so much, Lumi. This has been really wonderful.
Yeah, I got an interview unlike any other, I think. Very strange.
Definitely once in a lifetime. Yeah.
Did you like your portrait?
I did. Oh, let me go ahead and show that. So the team was so kind. I was freaking out about it. So I do have a portrait I can pull up on screen. In the style. This was amazing. Oh my gosh. Aha! I'll put me in the middle. Look, it's me! If you need a voice role, by the way, I'm obligated to say that I would do it for free. If you ever need like a chipmunk or like a really crazy child, I can do really good Dexter voice.
You're also
from the laboratory.
Dexter's laboratory! Didi, get out of my laboratory!
That's pretty good.
Thank you.
You're also halfway there because you have a very cool jacket, which is like the main.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, I picked up the space jacket in game, and I was like, that's me! That's literally me! Yeah, very excited. But yeah, it's such an honor that you guys drew me. It's just very crazy.
It was great. I remember, yeah, we were giving you reference, and I was like, who wants to do it? So it was really good. And I think our character art lead, Ilya, took it. So
it's a huge honor. It's crazy. I do believe there's like a physical version. I'm gonna frame it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna frame it. It's so amazing. Thank you so much. I've been a fan, not for very long, but I feel like I'm maybe like a deep Zaum fan now. Cause I actually also played the Altars, and I saw that you guys had a collab, and I was like, oh my god, they're so cool. They just do everything that's cool. Oh my god. So yeah, really amazing to be able to speak with you guys. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us. It's a pleasure.
Okay, I'll let you go. Did you want to say anything to chat or video later?
I'd say give Holocene a chance. You know, he's not that bad.
I love him. No, I have a crush. I'm gonna make a little like edit with hearts on it later. I did it for Titus. That's not a joke. I did a picture with Titus and I covered it in hearts. I loved him so much. I was like, oh, he's my baby. I'll do it. I'll do it for Holocene too.
Holocene's very shrineable.
Yeah.
My baby girl. I love him.
He is your baby girl. Can confirm.
So just the look of him and everything, it's done very well. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. Again, this is Jess and Patrick from Studio Zaum. Really great talking to you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Yay! Did it! How'd I do? Chat, how did I do? Let me put my picture here. I can interview myself. Oh, thank you. 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 You didn't push hard enough on V8. I like Herschel more that they explained it, I think. This time the nerds were like 10 minutes practice next time. Put thumbnails and stuff. You rambled a bit much. I did. I was a little nervous. You could tell. Lumi now starring as an aristocratic brat. I was a little nervous. They were very cool people, and it was a big honor. And now you can play Ocarina of Time. No! Ah, I don't wanna! Oh God! Yeah. Ding ding. Time to buy Nintendo Switch. Yeah. Must be refreshing for them to be interviewed by someone who actually liked and played their games and characters. I'm gonna be the best games journal. What do you think? Do you think I have the chops? Can I be a good game journal? What do you think? And get your cold read up? That's so unfair. That's literally my dump stat. That's so unfair, man. That's literally my dump stat. That's the stat we went, okay, we don't need that one. Oh. Let's make games journalism great again. I'll play the games for real, actually. That was very cool. Thank you for tuning in. If you just tuned in for the interview, yes, this was Zero Parades. I think it's worth playing. I think it's worth playing. If you want, you can buy it on sale.